Hello, everyone, and welcome. That was probably really loud. And welcome to another episode of the Hollywood Persona. My name is Mitch, and I am here with, as always, with Ant. Ant, how are you today?
Great, man. Let's talk
Good.
some movies.
Yeah, we got a lot of movies to talk about that have just come out. This feels like the end of August, September. Like, just before the big, like we start seeing the awards movies or some bigger movies near Christmas. It's kind of it feels like the end of the year. Just the way like things we thought were gonna do well didn't.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, like Sing Sing is one I'm wondering if will hold till Oscar time.
yeah,
That one's kind of come and gone. They did a kind of weird rollout.
really weird.
And then like upcoming, I want to see My Old Ass. That's apparently in New York and LA right now. And
Brian watched it from the film vault and he loved it. He said it was his
really,
favorite
okay,
movie
yeah.
in
I've been
years.
checking for listings. And then there's an Andrew Garfield, Florence Pugh movie coming called We Live In. Looks like a romantic
I've seen
something
the
with
horse.
Oh,
Okay, you don't know what I mean.
no, I thought that was the director's previous movie.
No, so there's this picture of them on one of those carousels with the horses that go up and
Yeah,
down. What are those called? I don't know.
I
Carousel,
think
I guess.
Carousel. Yeah,
And the horse is really ugly. And it's in like some of the posters and stuff. And now they've been asked about it on like talk shows and stuff. And they're like, they just love the horse now. I'll show it to you later and I'll put it
okay.
in the it's funny.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
so
so yeah,
sorry.
you're right. We're in the like transition period, and the theater, AMC theaters has been slower than usual, um, this past week or so. Because yeah, we're right in like the middle transition period. But we've seen a lot, and we've got quite a few to talk about.
Yes, I'm proud of myself. I've actually been watching things at home. Uh, but yeah, some things you told me not to watch and some things I had to watch. So, the one thing I was going to say is I just want to apologize for the last episode we had the wonderful Florence on, and it was great, but we were plagued by technical issues and had bad Wi-Fi. I don't know, like Florence all of a sudden started echoing,
Yeah, I got
but
feedback about that.
it wasn't echoing when I edited it.
Right.
So I posted it, and then people are like, "Oh, there's an echo," and then so there's that, and then my mic halfway through cut out, and yeah, so I just wanted to apologize for that because shouldn't be like that. I apologize. You apologize too, Ian?
Nah,
I'm Canadian. I have to.
no, it's not that big a deal. People
No,
can
I
get
know.
over it.
I'm also doing my 31 Days of Horror in October. So I watch a horror movie every day, or 2 or 3 a day. And for our Patreon subscribers, $5 a month, you can assign
Assign.
me a movie to watch for that month. So
Yeah, you usually do this every year for October, right?
yeah, this is like my 4th year, I think.
Okay. And you usually get to almost 30 movies or what?
Last year was the first year where I didn't watch them all. I left some off, and I'm like, I'll watch them next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard commitment. I can't commit to doing that.
I try to put some newer ones on there too, because like I have Terrifier 3 on there because I'm probably gonna go see it
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and then that counts towards.
Yeah.
It's not like
Yeah,
they're all at
that
home, right?
helps. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, so you can do that. Florence Bremer, who was on our last podcast, obviously, she has already assigned me one movie, and that is The Blair Witch 2.
The Book of Shadows?
Yeah,
Oh man.
I couldn't remember the what it said after the parentheses, so thank you. But she says she likes it. I've heard that from other people too. That it's actually not bad. I didn't even really like the first one, but I don't care. It's on the list. Basically, she paid me $5 to put it on the list, so I will
Yeah, I've
watch
heard
it.
it's bad, but I do have some curiosity about it because I just remember it coming out and I remember people being disappointed by it. So I am curious about it.
Yeah, so I am too. I just love the way you just said Book of Shadows. Like Like,
I know, I knew it right away.
right away. So let's get into box office if you want to talk a little bit about
Yeah, I'll
how.
mention it really quick. And one
Yeah.
more thing before I go there.
Okay.
Apparently, in Blair Witch Book of Shadows, there is no Book of Shadows.
Okay.
So, yeah, watch out for that. Let me know if I'm
That's
wrong about
funny.
that. So, yeah, real quick with the box office update this weekend ending today. We're recording Sunday, the 22nd. Beetlejuice is still number one domestically with another 26 million. It only fell 50, right around 50%, which is pretty good. It's still in over 4,000 theaters, which is a huge, huge release. And then right behind it in second is Transformers 1, the animated Transformers movie, which has really, in my opinion, overperformed. It made
Oh.
25 million. And I say that just because it's an animated movie, not a Pixar or like Disney movie,
Hmm.
because those can do really well. But this would be like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles doing this
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
or something like that. I haven't seen this yet. I will probably see it. I almost did last night, but I went to see Whiplash since it was back in theaters for its anniversary. And then Speak No Evil is in third. That's that new James McAvoy horror movie that we're going to talk about with 5.9 million in its second week. And then Never Let Go, which we're also going to talk about at 4.5 million, is the Halle Berry movie with her and her kids stuck in the woods. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And then Deadpool Wolverine at number 5 with another 3.5 million. And that movie is well on its way to almost 650 million domestic, which is just crazy.
That's awesome. That's what
Um,
you want.
yeah. And I do want to mention The Substance. That's a new horror movie that anyone listening, I would highly suggest you see. It is shocking and crazy and disturbing with Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley. And it's making waves, but you will have a reaction to it. It is wild and crazy what happens in that movie. So it's really interesting. And we'll talk about it here. But
Isn't
that came in at number 6 with 3.1 million.
Yeah. Isn't Wally Quaid's daughter? Dennis Quaid's daughter?
No, I don't think so. Hold on.
Okay.
So Dennis Quaid is in it. He plays kind of
Yeah.
the villain. He plays a guy named
Okay.
Harvey, playing a movie producer.
So
All right, and
a little
then
on the
our
nose.
TV producer. But no, Margaret Qualley is
Annie McDowell's
Annie
daughter.
McDowell's daughter, but I don't know who the
Yeah.
dad is. If you want
Yeah,
to look that
I
up.
thought somebody had said, but and she's married to Jack Antonoff. I don't know if you know
Right.
who that is. No, her dad is
And
Paul
then
Qualley.
does it say?
No, it says a guy named Paul Qualley,
Okay,
so I
okay.
was wrong.
Yeah, because I think only the Quaids have Jack Quaid. Yeah.
Jack Quaid, but I thought there was someone. I thought there was a bunch of relations with the Quaids, but I don't
Okay.
know.
That could
I mean,
be. I
because
I
there's
might just not know.
yeah,
So we're gonna review Never Let Go, that Halle Berry movie, Cuckoo, which is that kind of Alps horror
yeah.
movie, which was cool. And then Speak No Evil, we'll talk about. Other movies I saw that I guess I can mention after we do these reviews was Am I Racist? And then Lover of Men, the untold story of Abraham Lincoln, his three daughters, which you and I will talk about eventually because that just hit Netflix.
Yeah.
And Chinatown, the classic Jack Nicholson movie. I saw that too. Red Rooms, which I'll mention. Kind of Kindness, which we will briefly mention, and You Saw Hundreds of Beavers, which I want to hear about. So we'll mention that too.
I literally saw hundreds and hundreds of beavers, so I
Yeah,
need to
I
talk about it.
heard about that movie, and I really want to see it.
And I was just gonna say we are in the live chat, so if people want to chat, I see we have quite a few listeners. Someone said hi, and someone said I've arrived. Forest is alive. I've arrived. So yeah, which kind of thinking Never Let Go first,
Yeah, let's do
because
that. Let's talk about that
I
first.
feel like I have a lot to fucking say.
Okay.
So Never Let Go is a 2024 release. As an evil takes over the world beyond their front doorstep, the only protection for a mother and her twin sons is their house and their family's protective bond. So basically, they're this cabin deep, deep, deep in the woods, and you said the Alps.
No, the Cuckoo's the Alps. I think for them it looks like the Northwest, like Seattle, Oregon,
Yeah,
Vancouver.
I was thinking. I can't remember. Can't remember now, but
That's what the woods looked like to me. They were like really thick, very green.
very thick, and then the wide shots. Obviously, I don't think. I think yeah. Anyway, the wide shots were showing like how big the forest was. So
Yeah, yeah.
anyway, so they have this cabin in the woods. It's just the mother and the two kids, and they if they want to go outside to forage for food, they have to tie a rope around their selves, and they have to hold on to the rope. And if they let go of the rope, the saying is that the evil will get you. I don't know. How do you guys feel about?
I have
Um,
no idea what that is.
I remember watching it with my kids. Actually, I liked it. You learn a lot on that show. Okay, so Never Let Go, and it's Halle Berry, and then you probably won't know who these kids are, but I'm going to mention them because they're amazing. Anthony B. Jenkins and Percy Daggs the fifth, I think. They play Nolan and Samuel, her twin boys. So, what did you think about this?
So I went and saw this at like an early Lionsgate screening for like, public and critics.
Yeah, like you saw this
Couple weeks ago, 10 days
yeah.
ago. And I saw it in a completely packed theater, and I very much enjoyed this movie. The things that stuck out to me right away were Holly Berry. And I would just had a thought where I thought it's cool that she still has these kind of creative juices flowing, because she's still doing what I think is interesting work, even though she's long been an Oscar winner. And, she's been in hundreds and hundreds of movies, or maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but lots and lots of movies. And she's still taking on a role like this, where without her in it, I don't think this would either got made or gotten as wide a release as it did.
Well, sorry, just to jump in here quick. Apparently, like I noticed, it's her production company that helped get it made, and she was an executive producer, which I only saw in the beginning when in the opening credits. And I'm
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah,
good for her. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And, another thing is it reminded me, it gave, this movie's very familiar in one sense. Like, we just recently talked about Arcadia with Nick Cage,
Yeah.
where him and his boys are stuck in a woods and we
Yeah.
don't really know what's going on. And that's not the only one. There's others like that. And I thought it was cool. I thought it was really cool and nicely shot. The setting they used was really beautiful. Those woods you just
Yeah. Oh,
mentioned,
yeah, me too.
that cool old wooden house. And like you said, the story, to tell the listeners a little more about the story, is, the mom is saying, we're protecting you. I'm protecting you from the evil that's out there. And we being the viewer, don't really know exactly what that means. We do see some grotesque images and scary things but we notice that it might be the mom and only the mom who is able to see them.
Well, at the beginning, she says only I can see them. I'm the seer kind of thing. Is she's like I don't know how it works, but and then she said kind of to the boys, I think she said one day you guys will be able to see them too.
Yeah, and we don't know when this takes place, right?
Right.
Initially, like early
Yeah.
on, we're not really sure. Is this in the
100%.
1800s? Is this today? But their food,
I never thought about it.
yeah, I think that was intentional. And they don't, they act as if we would act today for the most part. They have a couple rituals or things that are a little weird. Like there's a basement that they trap, punishment. You go in there to find the darkness. It's kind of weird. Of course, the rope is weird. We pick up small things throughout, maybe a tattoo, or pictures of things, questions from the boys. But the boys are, they're probably like 12 or something. They're starting to enter their, puberty years, and their food supplies are dwindling. We see that they're eating like small rodents, berries they pick from trees, so not the best, and they're like, we
They
see
have
them
a
at some,
greenhouse.
yeah, at some point we see them having to eat bark from trees.
I love that line when the kid says, "Put some sap on your bark; it'll taste better." And the other kid's
Yeah,
like, "Yeah, that's what I want. I want it to taste more like a tree." That was
yeah.
like the only time I laughed in the whole movie. But go on.
Um, so so I do like this movie. I thought it was cool, interesting. I don't really know. I don't think I know or understand exactly what the message was at the end. And we don't have to give the ending away,
No.
but we learn more things, more dangerous things start to happen. They interact, interactions happen with other things or creatures, people, and we're left. I think actually one praise I do want to give this is this movie doesn't treat the audience like we're stupid. And I complain about that a lot, when that happens, like the watchers, we hate that when you feel like the movie's talking down to you. This doesn't. And because it doesn't, I am not 100% sure I understand the ending, because I'm not sure if was there a real threat? What was the real threat? That's left kind of a mystery to me. And I think I'll figure it out as time goes on, or someone will explain it to me. But overall, I liked it, and I gave it a positive rating because I thought it was pretty interesting, and it wasn't too long, and the kid acting was great. So yeah. What about you?
Yeah, the middle I felt dragged. It could have been tightened up a little bit, but overall I did love this movie as well. I gave it 3.5 stars, which is like, it didn't blow me away, but it really got me thinking and had my mind going the whole movie. It's not, I think if it's kind of like something I talked about last week or a while ago, Afraid, AI Afraid, where it again, like this is a horror movie, but it's more of like there's a lot of like more drama and like thrillery, not thriller, but I think it might be a little slow for like some of the horror crowd who would say like, oh, this looks so scary, and I think it might be a little slow, especially in the middle and towards the end, but I could be wrong there. But yeah, the kids were just awesome. At first I thought I was like, oh, like this one kid is the standout, and then the other one has a scene later on, like third act, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're both great. And Halle Berry's great. She looks like she doesn't age. And yeah, it wasn't until a little bit in where I leaned over to my friend and I'm like, kind of get where this movie's trying to make you think this or trying to make you think this is going on. And I didn't love, all we're gonna say is that I didn't love the ambiguous ending. Feel like the way it ended could have been, before that last scene could have been fine, and then just leave it up to your own imagination. But yeah, overall I think it's good. I think if you like, I shouldn't have said that, because I think if you are a horror fan, there's some really cool stuff in here, like the creatures and there's cool stuff. Did cry, really pulled the heartstrings there. The person I went with cried twice, so worked on me. And like again, I don't love it. I don't think I'd ever sit down to watch it again, because I just felt that middle drag too long. But 3.5 stars. I liked it. I think it's a good one to watch at home. Probably not the theater. I think it's a better home watch.
Yeah, I would agree. And I also gave it 3.5 stars. And like I said, I saw it in a full theater, and there was lots of, and this screening was, I wouldn't say full of horror fans. It was full of the general public, and there was lots of gasps and screams and oh my God. So they seemed to enjoy it.
Sorry, I was like this kind of the whole movie, whenever it was, because the movie was filled with tension. They did a really good job of keeping the tension up, and then once they're back in the house, you're like, thank God.
Yeah, right. You feel the safety,
and then they go out again, or something, or something happens. Obviously, there's like a lot of little things, like they get stuck on something, and then their rope unattaches, and then like they get some whatever. So.
Yeah, so it's good. Save it for streaming. Is it coming? I should have known this. It's Lionsgate, so I'm not sure where it'll be eventually. But I'm sure it'll come streaming not too long, since it isn't like blowing up the box office. But
I agree.
Yeah, but I do want to point out one more thing before we move on. Halle Berry's last movie that came out in 2021, maybe, called Bruised. where she was a
Yeah.
boxer. She directed and starred, and she was excellent in that. So I'd recommend people check that out if that sounds interesting to
Okay.
them.
I should watch that. I meant to. She's one of those cases, kind of like Cuba Gooding Jr., where they've both won an Oscar and then haven't heard from them again. Like,
Right. It happens a lot.
it does, and it's just too bad that they're both two black actors. And I'm sure there's other people but they're the only two I can think of. But I think Halle Berry's great, and she should be in more stuff. So, I
Yeah.
mean, she was
Yeah.
one of
So,
the
and
best Bond girls.
she showed like she's at some of her greatest in Bruised, in my opinion, which just came
Okay.
out not too long ago. So
Add it to my watch
check,
list.
it's
Yeah.
worth it. It's a cool story.
Yeah.
But okay, let's move on to Cuckoo.
Okay.
So Cuckoo is no longer in theaters. I think it's on Amazon now for the US, but it was in theaters a few weeks ago, and it was kind of a quiet release in the sense that there wasn't much marketing for it, as far as I know.
No, I didn't see a single trailer.
Yeah, I don't know if I did either. I try not to watch trailers, so that's not that big of a surprise for me there. But so it's directed by Tillman Singer, who is someone that I'm not familiar with. He has a couple other movies that are in European language. I'm not sure what movie it was. Maybe Dutch. But it stars Hunter Schafer, who you probably wouldn't recognize except from she was in Euphoria, a couple episodes of that, and she was actually Mitch in Kinds of Kindness. She's the woman at the very beginning that's like getting examined while she's naked. Do you remember that? I think it's the opening scene.
Is it like at Willem Dafoe's examining her?
And Willem Dafoe and Margaret Qualley.
Margaret Qualley. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't exactly remember, but it's funny because I watched Cuckoo after. I looked it up and I was like, oh, she was just in Kinds of Kindness, but I don't remember who she was.
Yeah, she bookends the movie. I think even though it's in three parts, we see her being examined in that opening scene at the very end. She's also there, or maybe that's just when Qualley's going through the examination. But yeah, anyway, so she was in that, and then she was in the Hunger Games, the new one, but I can't remember her character.
She was the young version of Tigress.
Oh, okay.
Is later in the movies, and
Okay,
she doesn't
that's
have a
good.
huge part, but I looked that up. Yeah, when I
But
saw
she's really cool here. So this is the movie. This is what the movie is about. Oh well, and you also have Dan Stevens. He's kind of the villainish guy, or the guy you're not sure about. Jessica Henwick, and that's about it as far as people you recognize. There's some other characters, maybe character actors here, but this is the story of Cuckoo. So she has to reluctantly move to the German Alps with her father and his new family. So it's his stepmother, his stepsister, and his biological dad. They move to some like resort-ish town in the German Alps, a stunningly beautiful place with just dramatic mountains and tons of forest.
it almost feels like a large rehabilitation center. Like that's that's the vibe I got at first, and that's what I thought they were doing, is bringing the daughter to because that's what it looks like. It looks like a getaway way up in the Alps, but it's more just different lodging. Like there's different cabins around
that people rent. Yep. Yeah. And it also reminded me a lot of A Cure for Wellness, if anyone's seen that. That was Gore Vidal's last movie. Really weird movie with Mia Goth is in it too. But so she goes there with her family. That we find out that her mom has recently died, and she is 17, 18, and she is really grieving the loss of her mother. She's pretty mad at her dad for moving her across the world over to Germany. They're from the United States somewhere. And as she's here in this new place, she's hearing weird noises in the woods, seeing weird stuff at night. There's rules around certain places about don't go out at night, don't go by here at night.
Close the place up by 10 p.m.
The place has got to be closed and sealed by 10 p.m. Yeah. There's a police officer, someone says he's a police officer, starting to put his nose around and say, ask questions, and then don't tell the superiors that I'm here, kind of thing. And that's the premise. And then it just kind of devolves into madness as we learn more and more about the other characters that are here. And I very, very much enjoyed it. I thought this was really cool, clever. I loved the ending and just how everything kind of comes together. And I think Hunter Schafer, the lead actress, was just excellent here. She fit this role perfectly. she's playing like a very kind of depressed and sad. I wouldn't say emo, but she's like emotional,
Yes.
dealing with the change, dealing with, grief and moving to another country half across the world. So yeah, I was really into this and was trying to get a lot of people to see it. What did you think of this?
Yeah. I really like this as well. This is I see my friends' ratings on Letterboxd, and it is from 1 to 5 stars. It's everyone is all over the place. Dan Stevens, I've loved Dan Stevens ever since The Guest.
He's
You remember?
really cool.
Yeah, and then he actually played the Beast in Beauty and the Beast live action, and he did all the
Right.
singing for that. And then so I like him, and the accent he was doing was completely just he kind of disappeared into the role for me. I know he's not a big enough actor for people to say that, but I know him, so I was like, wow, this is great.
And he was just in that, not Annabelle, the ballerina movie, the murderous ballerina.
Yeah, Abigail. Yeah,
Abigail. Remember he
yeah.
was in that too.
And I like the mood of this movie, the vibe. It's times it's a little slow. You don't know what's going on. There's people coming in and they're just throwing up on the floor,
Yeah.
and but they got no pants on. And then you're kind of following this girl's life. Also, like she's really depressed and she misses her mother, who died, and yeah, and it's funny, like we've kind of had all these ambiguous movies lately, and this one is kind of the same. Like you're kind of wondering like what is going on, who's right and who's wrong,
Yeah.
and it's a really good horror mystery. Like trying to figure it all out. I think it goes some places where people would be like, okay, this is just unbelievable. I think, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. And you can tell throughout the movie that there's some weird underbelly going on at this place, like you said. And
Mm.
it gets as the movie ticks on, you learn more and more and more, and something they're doing, like the dad's career has something to do with this place, possibly. It's some health related thing, whether they're trying a new untested method of treating certain things, or
Yeah.
trying to extract certain things from certain people. That gets revealed, and it's really cool. I thought it was great, but you're right about it being a little slow. I could see someone calling it a little boring, but to me it grabbed me and I was
Me too.
hooked.
I was
And
hooked, and because at sometimes you think you know what's going on, and then everything you thought what was going on is erased, and you're like, "Okay, wait, what is going on?
some
Who's the
great
good guy?"
twists, some
Yeah,
really
some
good twists
really
that
good
shocked
stuff.
me, and I like to be surprised. And I'm not hard to fool, but I like when it
Mm.
happens.
And then just one more thing I was gonna say about that is she does make too many dumb decisions, I thought, especially closer to the last act. It's like, why would you go in there? Why are you doing this? And that was kind of my only complaint. Is there was times I'm like, really, why are you doing that? You haven't liked this guy the whole time, and you're gonna do this, really?
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah. And there's some act. I know that this was getting lauded for being like queer horror, and I wanted to know what you thought of that. I didn't. There wasn't that much. I wouldn't
I
really call it that, but what would you say?
yeah, I really liked the relationship with those two characters, but it's literally minor parts,
Yeah,
right?
it's kind of a matter of fact that.
Yeah,
Yep.
she's just gay. We find that out. She meets a girl, and I but you know what though? I could watch a whole movie of them two, like on a road trip.
Yeah, they
Like
were cool together.
they're cool. Like
When they
Jessica
both get in the
Henwick.
car, when they like hop in the car to
Yeah,
leave, I'm like, cool, let's go. I'm on
yeah,
this road trip with
me
y'all.
too. Exactly. So that was my only thing. We have a question in the comments. Did you see Polar from 2021 starring Mads Mikkelsen?
Yes, I did.
Did you like it?
I did like it, and
Okay.
nobody saw that movie.
Nobody did.
It came out like early
And it
2020.
was COVID-y
Yeah.
still, and
Yeah, that was really cool, and I did like that movie a lot. Yeah.
okay. I just someone asked, and remember it, and I've basically seen most of Mads Mikkelsen's stuff because I've loved him ever since The Hunt, and
Yeah.
so yeah.
I remember
So
seeing it
I'll watch it.
in Chicago because it was cold and snowy, and this movie is also cold and snowy. And I was like, oh yeah, that sounds familiar.
You got a yes.
I
Let's
see.
go, Ant.
I
Okay, you
see.
can see. Never mind that.
Yeah, and you know what's killing me is there is a movie. There was another movie that came out right around the same time that was similar. It was about someone trapped in the cold, and it might have been Kate Winslet and
Oh,
Idris
Everest.
Elba. Yeah,
No,
was that Everest?
no, it's not Everest.
No, it wasn't Everest.
Sorry,
It
but I know
wasn't
what
because
you're.
that was Jake Gyllenhaal, I think.
Yes, it was.
But yeah, anyway, I like pair those two together, Polar and that other one, because they were like similar climates, I guess, and came out around the same time. So,
The
but yeah, that
mountain
is a good
between
one. And
us.
yeah, nobody saw it. What'd you say?
The mountain between us is
That's
that
it.
other
That's
one,
it. That's it.
and I've
Yeah.
seen it, and I can't tell you a thing about it. I don't remember anything that happened in that
I
movie.
think I just remember that Idris Elba wasn't really alive or there or something.
Really, that's like, oh,
Yeah, I think
geez,
she was like that was like her husband, and she was just seeing him in her mind before she
oh,
died, or
gotcha.
maybe made it out. I can't remember actually.
So let's jump into Speak No Evil. What'd you give Cuckoo?
I gave it 4 stars. I liked it, man.
Yeah, I gave it four as
The
well.
sound design and the like, cinematography pushed it from 3.5 to 4 for me. It was just
Yeah,
like really good looking, and the sound was awesome.
and I'm going to kind of talk about that later. But the story wise, I would have went like three and a half. But like the movie was so beautifully well done, technically well done, and interesting. I was just wowed by everything. So I'm like, this is 4 stars because I'm so into it. So
Yeah, it was real creative. Like,
yeah, really
there's
creative.
not many. Whenever I think about rating a movie like this, it's like, how different is this from something else I've seen? And it's pretty different, you know?
Yep.
The only other one
And
that was, like I said, was A Cure for Wellness is it was kind of similar to, but not really. So,
mm,
yeah, it gets points for being creative.
and I would see more from this director, right? That's the other thing. It's like
Definitely.
4 stars, okay. Like this director should keep working, like because he knows what he's doing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Speak No Evil came out last weekend, I think.
Yeah. Yep.
And because you were going to see it the night of the episode where we recorded with Florence. This is American movie based on a film from Denmark, I think, or Finland.
Yep.
And it's a horror movie. There's this two couple. These two couples. They meet in. I can't remember where they meet in this movie.
Oh,
Like Sicily or something. I don't know. So they meet when they're on a vacation, and it's James McAvoy, who you would all recognize. He was the bad guy in Split. He also played a young version of Charles Xavier in X-Men. He's a great actor. Scoot McNairy, Mackenzie Davis, and then Aisling Franciosi.
Aisling. Yeah.
Aisling, yeah. She's great as well. Like, so all four of these people are great. I've seen Mackenzie Davis and other stuff and thought she's just okay, but she is basically I found the main star of the movie almost. Like she is almost the lead character, and she got to really show her acting chops. But anyway, so they are on this dream holiday, and then you can tell the dad doesn't have a lot of friends, so they meet this couple, and all of a sudden he's like enamored by this guy, and they're like, you guys should come over to our place and sometime soon. Love to have you. We'd host you, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, okay, maybe. And then they get a postcard from them a few weeks later saying, you guys want to come? And they decide to go. They have a son who can't speak, and the other couple does. And then the main couple has a daughter. And so they get along, but he can't talk. And they say he has an issue. I think what really happened to him is spoiled in the trailer, which I
Yep.
found annoying. Because that was a reveal in the original movie. But yeah, so why don't you tell me what you think, or see if I missed anything about the plot?
So no, I think you set it up well. And yeah, so the original and this one, right? They have the same title. They're about the same beat for beat, except for the ending, I would say, right?
Yeah,
I can't remember if you and I
true
talked
that.
about Speak No Evil when we both saw it.
It feels like we did, but
I feel like we did too. I just looked back at my review and I didn't like it, the original, that much. And
hmm,
I think that was because of expectations, because it was hyped up as this like crazy scary horror movie, and it really isn't that scary to me. But the whole meaning behind it was like, don't be a pushover, kind of, is my
mhm,
feeling. Like, don't let people walk all over you. Say no when something's wrong or you don't agree. And it's a cool like way to scare you about vacation friends, people you may meet. Because I know we've probably all had this situation where you're on a vacation somewhere and you meet someone and you connect, and then you never see them again, but you had a great time with them. I know, like Cancun, one time I met, I think they were German travelers, and I had a great time with these girls that weekend. We seemed to connect and had a lot of fun, and I've never talked to them ever again. And I wish I had, but so like that was familiar to me with this movie.
mhm.
And of course, it's different when you're a parent and you bring your kids along, so the dynamic is a little different there.
I
But
remember going to like camping, and we like got
yeah,
along with the campground next to us, and they had kids and everything. And
exactly.
the dad was saying to my dad, well, like we should get together, we don't live too far apart. Never saw them again. I
Right.
mean, and I remember asking my dad, like, are we gonna invite those people over? And dad's like, nah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it's work. It's
it is.
work to to maintain adult friendships and stuff.
Yeah.
So why they remade this so quickly? Because that movie came out just 2 years ago. So
Mhm.
it went from being in theaters to being in theaters in just 2 years, which is pretty short time. And I think it's totally fine. James McAvoy is a lot of fun as always. He's always so good, and he's just so ripped in this, like he was in Split. You know, and this is a good movie, good horror movie. I think for people that maybe don't watch hundreds of movies a year.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, but and I still rate this positively, but it just was like, okay, yeah, I've seen that. And then the ending, we won't give the ending away, but the ending here is very North American compared to being European or maybe Russian. Like the original ending is much more bleak and affected people more, I think. So yeah, so it's a good movie. It's just, it didn't really answer the question of why they needed to remake it, actually. What do
And
you think about that?
I think the thing is this movie is going to get seen by more people than the original. And that's why, like, it's made, and this is for an American, or like, our audience who don't go out and watch the foreign films. And yeah, then they Americanize it a bit, which, I mean, the ending I was glad was different, I guess. I love the original, like love. And that movie is not so much as scary, or it's just more tense, like force majeure tense. Like, you're just awkward the whole time. And this couldn't quite reach that level for me, but I still had a good time with it, because they did some different things like through the movie. Not everything was copied, you
Right.
know. And then McAvoy's doing a great job. They were all doing a great job. And then yeah, and then I found the ending okay, maybe a little unbelievable, but yeah, definitely interesting and different. And I gave it 3 stars because I think it's good. You'd probably watch it. It's good horror, but
One thing I want to say that I just remembered, and I want to know if you agree with this. So, in my opinion, this one did worse in the. So the families start to disagree on certain things. The family that's inviting them there is doing things that are not okay. They're just starting. One's vegetarian and trying to feed them meat, and the way they discipline their kid that they have looks pretty bad. And in my opinion, from my memory, and tell me what you think. I think that the original did those situations better to make it more like, should we leave? That's not cool. Whereas
mhm,
this version, I'm like, I'd be gone. Any person I know would be gone. You know, the way he's like disciplining the kid. I think it was meaner and worse in this one to make it seem like, why is this family not gone yet? You know?
And there's a bed scene that happens in the original that horrified me.
Mm-hmm.
That happens in this one that isn't that bad. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
So it goes both ways, you're saying?
I mean, yeah, I guess I just reversed your point, but in this one I would have, especially like being American and stuff, I would have just left. We don't know how they, we're looking over at Denmark. Like, would it be really rude for them to leave? What's their,
Or like going back to get the bunny,
I would have just drove. I would have just, fuck it, you're gonna get a new bunny,
yeah,
or you're gonna
or
get
they'll
over
mail
it.
it to us.
Yes, exactly. Or when he went around to the back of the car to look, I would have just said, yeah, it's back there, but it's packed away. Let's go.
Yep.
I think enough like had happened for the, and they weren't like awkward enough, because she was like, we have to go. We have to get out of here. And then when it came to it, they were like, oh, I guess we'll stay then.
Yeah.
She's like crying, saying, we got to get the fuck out of here. And then, yeah, it was a little, which is totally different in the original.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they didn't leave, but
yeah. So, but I agree. 3 stars, same for me. We've lined up quite a bit.
yeah.
And I think it's worth seeing. Definitely, you don't have to rush out to see this. I would definitely wait to stream it, but it's good.
And we just got the most dreaded question. I don't know if you saw that.
No.
That I hate to answer, because have you guys watched any Studio Ghibli or Ghibli?
No, I don't think I have seen many. It's
Not me either.
I think I might have seen one, but no, that is part of my gap of shame.
I know,
I need to get
too. It is a gap of shame. But I watched The Boy and the Heron last year for the Oscars.
I did see that.
And then Totoro are the only the only 2 I've seen. So that's on my list. Anyways, why don't you tell us if you are racist or not?
So I went to see that Matt Walsh documentary called Am I Racist? And I saw a lot of people coming to see it as well. It did okay last weekend at the box office, and this weekend too, as far as the documentary goes. And, there's not too much to say about this, except that it's kind of like a conservative version of Borat. The documentary, he goes to places that are specifically, extremely progressive and liberal, and he purposely tries to like bait them into contradicting themselves. And the way that I saw it was the people he's interviewing, they all seem to just want to be nice and help people and inclusive for people of different race, sex, whatever. So it's a little mean-spirited, in my opinion. I did laugh a few times. Like the guy, Matt Walsh, he has an ability that I wish I had. Another friend of mine, Richie, has this, where he can say anything out of his mouth and then keep a totally straight face and not grin, not laugh.
Wow.
And I admire people like that, because I wish I could do it. Like I can't. And Will Ferrell, he's a perfect example of that, right?
And the guy on the that always goes to the Trump rallies, and he can keep a straight face.
Yes.
And he works for one of the late night shows, and he asks. But anyways, he's great too. I think.
Yeah. So the guy has that ability, and he's sitting in these rooms and he's saying the most uncomfortable thing, just like a Borat scene.
Right.
It's similar to that. So that's all that was there for me. So I wouldn't really recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it that much, just because it's 2 hours long of that. They should have made it way, way, way less long, because I barely made it to the end. I'm like, okay, I get it. So, that's my racist. He also had a movie last year or 2 years ago called What is a Woman? Similar vein, that didn't go to theaters. But, it made 2.5 million this weekend, and it made like double that last weekend. So there is an audience for this type of content. So it's being served,
Yeah.
So that's Am I Racist by Matt Walsh. Check, maybe if you're curious, check it out. It's definitely pointed in what it's trying to say and do,
Yeah. Yeah,
But yeah. So tell me
sorry,
about
it's just
hundreds.
frustrating. Like that kind of stuff to me a little bit because it's like that girl. I don't know if you remember, but she used to be on TikTok, and she went to college campuses, and she was just like a bitch, and she made
Yeah, I
fun of
remember.
like she had the blonde hair, and like they ended up just like getting her out of the place, but I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it and just kind of because I don't even know who Matt Walsh is, so maybe I should
Yeah,
just
he's like
watch
a
a little bit.
journalist for the Daily something.
Yeah,
And I try and, I really don't, I try and stay away from political things
yeah,
because I get fed enough of it, even though I'm not trying. So
especially right now. Yeah,
yeah, especially now too. So I try and stay away. It just takes up so much time and brain power to keep up with it. And I'd rather allocate that other places.
yeah,
So yeah, but tell me about Hundreds of Beavers. What
yeah.
is this?
So this is Hundreds of Beavers is a little comedy movie that went to a bunch of festivals in 2022 and finally was released online just this year for rent. And I'll just read the log line here. In the 19th century supernatural winter epic, a drunken Applejack salesman must go from zero to hero and become North America's greatest fur trapper by defeating hundreds of beavers. And essentially, this is Looney Tunes for adults. And I think it all depends on you if I don't know, like you'd have to watch 20 minutes of this, and if you're like, no, this isn't for me, I I don't know who the exact audience for is for. I watched it with the Film Vault watch along group, and that was a lot of fun. That made it a lot more fun to watch it because the jokes are probably not something you would laugh at if you were watching it alone.
Okay.
But, if you're with other people, you'd be like, oh, it'd be funnier. This movie cost $150,000 to make.
Right.
It's all like live action, black and white, no speaking. There's no speaking.
Right.
And some of it's drawn, some of it is like claymation, some of it is a little bit of animation, most of it is like live action, but they're walking in a drawn world. And
Hmm.
I gave this 5 stars because of its technical, like it's amazing. Like it's just incredible what they did. Like
Wow.
I thought of myself as the director and the writer, and if I was making this movie, halfway through I would have been like, what are we doing? This is so stupid. Like the guy's trying to just one instance, he's trying to get eggs because he's hungry and it's a woodpecker nest. And he gets the eggs, but every time he gets to one, he like is excited, so he whistles and it brings the mom woodpecker back, and then it hits him in the head and he falls down, but then he uses that later to scare off some wolves, and it's so complex, like not for the viewer, but what they must have planned out, like storyboarding. Oh
Yeah.
man, it's just crazy. Yeah, I think you should put on 20 minutes and just see what you think. I would
How long is it?
it's too long. That's my only thing. It's an hour and like 40 minutes. Are you watching the trailer?
I was gonna pull up the trailer. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you see those beaver costumes? The guys in the beaver costumes in the trailer
Oh
at all?
wow.
Though each one of those beaver costumes cost $10,000 or upwards of $10,000.
Jeez.
So they do a lot of tricks to make it look like there are more beavers than there actually are. So it's a labor of love, and this director and the actors goes through a lot, and it's just
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
the
It's
most
very different.
wild,
This is
very
just very
wild.
unique and creative, right?
Yeah, very very. So anyway, that's why I gave it 5 stars. It won't be in my top 10 of the year, but I admire it. I admire it
Yeah.
so much.
Pretty creative. Like really
Very,
creative.
yeah.
And that deserves something.
I think it just goes on too long. By the end, I was like, okay, like this.
Yeah.
It's like watching an hour and 48-minute Looney Tune episode, and by the end, you're like, oh, these are the same jokes over and over.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool.
Yeah. What else did we want to talk about?
I really want to mention Red Rooms to you.
Yes.
So this is a movie that I saw in theaters just last weekend, I think, and it was in limited release. And it's a 2023 movie, but it's just now finally getting doing its rounds. It's French. It's a French horror movie, and there is another movie called Red Rooms from a couple years ago talking about this same thing. And the idea is, and I was actually thinking maybe you'd seen it or heard of it, the other one, because the other one apparently is a bad horror.
It's got, I think, De Niro in it, or no, not De Niro. Melissa Leo.
Supposedly, it's not really true about this, that there are these red rooms on the dark web somewhere that you can go and pay and watch people be tortured, kind of like Hostel
all
over again.
Yeah.
But what we're seeing here in this movie is a court case where they seem to have the man on trial who was running this red room. And oh no, not French. It's French Canadian. It's all set in France. It's all set in Canada. All these actors are Canadian and in Montreal area. And this one model, she's a magazine model. She's a fashion model. She's beautiful. She is extremely and hyper obsessed with this case. So she like sleeps outside the courthouse to be one of the first people allowed in. So she gets a seat every day for the trial. And why this is a horror movie is because in a very clinical way, they describe the things that were seen in these videos in the court to the jury, and the jury has to watch the videos. And while we don't really ever see the videos kind of like in there, we do see like it leaves enough up to the imagination to make it really horrific for you. And that's what is kind of exciting because, this is a movie. Like I know this isn't real, but it's really intense. And a lot of people are saying, this is the craziest or scariest horror movie of the year. And it's really cool and really interesting. And the woman that we're following, I don't want to say we learn more about her as the story goes on and her relationship to this. I'm not saying that because I know that sounds like, oh, she's part of this or she did it or something. That's not necessarily the case, but she has some more involvement and she is really problematically obsessed with this stuff.
Yeah.
She's kind of like your friend, and I'm sure we all have that friend. And I was this friend at some time who would show their friends the crazy videos online of, say 2 Girls, 1 Cup or beheadings or cartel videos. I used to try and prank my friends with those, and I've seen all kinds of them. Yeah. Everyone has that one person is like, can you stand watching this? She's that one, and she's really great with technology. So she seems to have some access to these red rooms and such. So that's all you need to know, really. And the crowd I saw it with seemed to really enjoy it as well. I think it's really cool. And it's just a great and different style of horror. So once it comes around, check it out. It's called Red Rooms. The poster is of someone looking at the screen and just red washing over their face. So yeah, it's really cool. It's really, really cool.
I haven't it's too bad because it's French Canadian and I haven't seen it advertised anywhere.
I know.
Me.
What the hell?
Yeah, but sounds to me like last year's Anatomy of a Fall mixed with Long Legs or Long Legs. Is that what the movie's called?
Yeah, the Nicolas Cage one.
Yeah.
Let me think. Anatomy of a Fall. Yes. Yeah.
That's mash those two together.
That's a good blend of what this is.
But yeah.
And I can't think of any other comps that are like
the only
this.
reason I said Long Leg is because the girl in that, she kind of gets too involved in the case and then
yeah, that's what we have here. And the movie's all about the trial and which is like Anatomy of a Fall. So yeah.
That's cool. I'm really excited to see it by your descriptions. So.
Yeah, and then I got to mention The Substance. That's Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley. It's in theaters right now. Anyone that likes horror has to see this movie. It is really intense, and it goes hard as hell. And as soon as, like, right when I got out from seeing it, I messaged like Florence and my friend
Yeah.
Anna and all these people I know, my sister, all these people that I know that like horror. And I'm like, you got to see this. So
Yeah. I had people who aren't usually moviegoers saying, "Hey, we're going out to see The Substance tonight. Apparently, it's crazy."
I polled it for Cinema Score. I got several Fs from it was mostly boomers in the older crowd. They looked at me because they think I work for the movie for some reason, you know? And I was just like, and they were like, was that supposed to be a comedy? What was that? A lot of people didn't even give me their ballot back. I'm like, wait, does that mean an F? You know, I had to like chase people down.
Ooh, how is
Yeah, so it's cool, man. It really you'll react. You'll have a reaction.
how was Demi Moore in this? Like seeing her, she hasn't done
I think
something
she's
like
the
this,
best.
and
She's the best I've ever seen her in this.
yeah,
She
okay,
has to be naked for most of it, and she has to be naked in the age that she is. You know,
yeah,
she's known as like a beautiful superstar, and she's like in her 50s now or something. So that takes courage. I couldn't
yeah,
do
oh
that.
yeah, yeah,
And you know, it's a beauty movie. It's about how beauty is falling apart and losing it, and not
mm.
getting roles in Hollywood because you're aging, especially for women.
She
And
personally has talked a lot about that, so I can see why she was attracted to
it's
the
so
role.
cool that she took this role, man.
Yeah,
It's so cool. And then Margaret Qualley plays the like beautiful version of herself, which you can see in the trailer.
yeah,
And she's just like a stunner, man. She's just so sexy and
yeah. Quality's
carries herself well, like
beautiful.
she
Yeah,
belongs here.
yeah,
And then, you know, just like all like beauty tales, it soon falls apart and things go badly quickly. And
yeah.
that's the fun of this movie. It's a blast. I'd see it again. The only downside I got to tell people is it's 2 hours and 20 minutes. It did fly by for me though, like
Mm.
because that's a long time. But I didn't really think to look at my watch until there was like 30 minutes left. I'm like, oh wow, we're almost at the end here. So
Mm.
yeah, that's the substance. Bring your vomit bag.
I got vomit bags, when I went to go see Terrifier 2. I
Oh,
have it. I
nice.
have it.
Bring it.
We have two questions. How do you guys feel about the upcoming Minecraft movie? I have
Um, I
very
hope
little
it's good.
interest. Yeah, I mean, we hope every movie's good, but I'm kind of not really in love with The Rock anymore, you know.
He's in it.
Yeah, The Rock
Oh,
and Jack Black, and
oh,
it
they're
looks
trying to replicate the
weird,
Super Mario Brothers with Jack Black, right?
basically. Jack Black
Yeah, I
said he
mean, well,
retired, I thought.
the history of video game movies being amazing is rare, so
Yes.
I wouldn't set my expectations too high for it. But you never know. Look what we got with the Lego Movie. That was incredible,
Yeah.
and we all
And
thought that was going to be stupid. And Barbie.
Barbie.
So yeah,
Ant, what flavor of vape do you have?
man,
We've
pink lemonade and watermelon.
nice.
I hate that I still vape, but I
No,
do.
everyone does it. This person that's asking can't vape, shouldn't be vaping. So do we still want to do the box office draft?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. So we're going to get into our box office draft. That is something we do every quarter, but we missed September this year. That's okay. We kind of got all mixed up. So we are going to do October, November, December. And we are the studios. It's Mitch Studios and Ant Studios. And we are going to go back and forth and pick upcoming movies that we want to add to our studio. And I will track them during the year and see the budgets, how much they make, and it's whichever studio does better has to assign the other person a
Financially.
movie. Yes, financially. I think I owe you like 2 movies by now that I still have to watch, which I will. Yes, we do post these later so that you can watch them later. So yeah, so we're going to get into it. I'm going to pull up my list. So we're just going to go back and forth. I won the last one, so that means you get to go first.
Okay.
You get to pick the first movie.
All right. Hey, are you going to write them down or should I send you my list after this?
I'll write them down. I got them right here.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to pick, will that do better? Will that do better? All right. I'll just go with what I ended up. I'm going to pick Venom Last Dance
Okay.
as my first movie for my studio. What you got? What's your
My first pick is Moana 2.
Okay.
I mean, if it's good, it's going to do really well. So,
Yep. All right. Then my next is Mufasa, the Lion King sequel.
okay.
I think that could do well. The last one made $1 billion. We'll
Yeah.
see.
I think this one comes out next weekend, so I don't know if you'll let me have it or not.
Yeah.
Is that okay? I was
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
go with the Wild Robot.
Okay. Yeah. I have this as my
I
alternate.
Yeah, I think it could do really well. It looks good,
It's
actually.
gotten some great word of mouth, but you know what? It is so close to what was that other robot movie we saw just this year?
So
It was
the
animated. It
Robot
was,
in Love or Love and Robots or
yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Remember? Didn't you see it?
Yeah, dogs that they're like the dogs in love with the robot.
Yes. And it was, yeah, he had to leave him on the beach.
Yeah, I think this one's just a little different. It just looks
It
prettier.
yeah, it is. But like, wow, we just had a robot animated movie that did well, but that was like on a small scale. This is wide release.
Yeah.
All right, so that was your. Oh
Oh,
wait, I
sorry.
picked.
Yeah, that was my second pick. So you're on your third.
Okay, so now for three, I'm gonna pick Gladiator 2.
Okay.
One. Wait, what was my second one? Sorry.
You have Venom Last Dance, Mufasa, and Gladiator 2.
Okay.
I have Moana 2, The Wild Robot, and I guess I will take Joker Folie Du.
Okay, and I am seeing that on Monday. Well, a week from tomorrow.
I have a feeling it is going to be,
Yeah, we'll see. I don't
yeah,
know. There's a
yeah,
lot of questions around it, but
yeah,
maybe enough people won't know and go to see it like they saw that first one.
yeah.
Because that made $1 billion as well. All right, so this will be my fourth pick.
Yep.
All right, so I'm gonna go with Wicked, that Disney movie.
You know what about this movie, Wicked? They are hiding the fact that this is only part one of the movie.
Oh, I heard that.
Yeah, they're really
Kind
hiding
of
it.
like they did with Dune 1 and
Yeah,
Mission Impossible.
yeah. They're really trying to hide movies that have two parts now because people don't want that.
And Horizon. No, Horizon was
Horizon,
called part 1, wasn't
it
it?
was, but I mean, yeah, I guess. I'm gonna. Oh, I just did 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it's your
Yeah, it is my
fourth
turn.
or fifth.
I'm gonna go with Terrifier 3.
Okay. My fifth will then be one. Speaking of The Rock, I think that's that dumb Christmas movie looking one, right?
Yeah. Yep. It is. Could be good. What'd you say? What's it called? Red?
Red One, which is crazy because he had a movie called Red Notice like 2 years ago.
That's what I keep getting confused by. That was your fifth pick.
Fifth, yeah.
My fifth pick is going to be. I'm gonna go The Apprentice.
Okay.
That's the Donald Trump movie coming out. Who
Yeah.
knows? But I just
All
love
right.
anything.
My sixth will be Smile 2, I guess.
Yeah,
That could do okay.
I think it will. The trailer looks
Yeah, the trailer looks
is effective.
okay. I really love that main actress. She played Jasmine in the live action Aladdin, and I just think she's so good
Yeah,
looking.
she is very pretty. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take Heretic. I think the
Okay.
trailer looks. It's got what's his name? Hugh Grant. I
Yeah.
think it looks really interesting. So I'm gonna take that one in my studio.
All right. And then I will take for seven. I'm gonna take Sonic 3.
Why didn't I grab that before? I'm such an idiot. Okay.
I think
Yep.
that'll make a good bit of money.
I know I'll be there opening week with my boys. They love it.
Yeah, those have been fun.
They've been okay, yeah.
Yeah, totally fine.
So that was 7. So I'm going for 7. I'm gonna take the Lord of the Rings War of the Rohirrim.
I should have got that before. Good call.
It's animated, but I think there's enough Lord of the Rings nerds, myself included, who would go see it. So could be a flop, maybe not. Who knows?
All right, so for my number 8, I'm gonna take. I think it's Blumhouse or no, A24, the Y2K movie.
Yeah, by Kyle Mooney, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which could be fun. I'm surprised that it's taken this long to get a Y2K movie.
Yeah, exactly. So that was 8. I'm going to take Nosferatu.
Good call. Yep.
Don't think it's gonna make a whole
Is that
shit
Robert
ton of money.
Eggers?
Yeah, it is. But I mean, he doesn't always draw the box office.
Right. He makes good movies, but not
Yeah.
everyone sees them all the time. But
Yeah.
still, I'm looking forward to that.
Me too.
All right, and then I'll take Saturday Night, the Saturday Night Live movie.
A good one.
That could get some old people out there.
I want to see it.
I do
Call me
too.
old. Don't call me old. So, do we pick 10 or do we pick 9 and then we give each other a bomb?
I only have one more left and then
Okay.
a bomb pick.
Okay, so let's do that.
So what? Pick.
1,
Put the
2,
10th as
3,
the bomb
4,
movie.
5, 6, 7,
Yeah.
8, 9. Yeah. So I get to give you the bomb first, but I have to pick my 9th movie.
Okay. Yeah.
First. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so I have 8, you have 9. I don't know if I want to take this or not, but I think people might actually. I don't even remember what this is now. I'm going to take A Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan movie with Timothy Chalamet.
Oh yeah.
I'll take it, whatever.
Okay.
So since you got to go first, I get to pick the bomb
Right.
first.
Pick the bomb first. Yep.
And I think we probably both have the same bomb, I bet.
I think maybe because it hasn't come up yet.
I have 2 bombs here, and the one I'm going to give you is Megalopolis.
That's what I was gonna pick for you. Although I don't think it's gonna bomb.
No?
But that's okay. I have another one I can give you, so I'll take that.
Yeah, I put it on there for you.
And then what I'll give you, this isn't that exciting, but I don't think it's gonna make that much money. My Old Ass.
Okay. Yeah. You know what is coming out that I thought about giving you for a bomb because I think the budget has just ballooned is Craven the Hunter.
Is that still coming out this year? I haven't seen anything about it.
Really?
Wow.
I've seen a few trailers now.
Have
They're
you?
pushing
Okay.
it. Do you want to give me that instead? Or do you think that might make money?
I think that would make more than My Old Ass will.
Okay.
Even though My Old Ass is good, or probably good,
Hmm.
it's such a small movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Ant's studio for the next three and a bit months is Venom Last Dance, Mufasa, Gladiator 2, Wicked, Red 1, Smile 2, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, Y2K, Saturday Night, and Megalopolis. And Mitch's studio is Moana 2, The Wild Robot, Joker Folie à Deux, Terrifier 3, The Apprentice, Heretic, sorry, I don't know. Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim, Nosferatu, A Complete Unknown, and My Old Ass. I think the trailer for A Complete Unknown is awesome. Like, it gave me chills, like, when I just saw it ahead of Never Let Go. Like, they don't even say, like, Bob Dylan.
Yeah, and it's shot from behind his head, right?
Yeah.
I have seen some of that, yeah.
You hear his song, but like the song's going, and I don't know. I just think it's a really well done trailer, and it got me really excited.
And
for it.
we both really like Timothy Chalamet, and he's proven himself. So I have no reason to think it'll be bad.
I'm going to sound so stupid, but it said Oscar award nominee Timothy Chalamet. When was he nominated?
Was it for? Oh, it wasn't for Bones and All. It wasn't for Lady Bird.
Was it for your boy?
Good call. The one where he was like a drug addict. Yeah.
I don't think it was that. I gotta look it up.
Yeah, look it up. What?
Like, cause when it said that, I'm like, he has been.
It wasn't Dune.
Was it Call Me by Your Name?
Oh, that could have been it. That's it. I bet that's it.
Do you? I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe. God, that movie's so creepy now to watch, I think.
Yeah, I didn't love it as much as everybody else.
I didn't either. awards for Best Actor performance in Call Me by Your Name. You were
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
And apparently Mads Mikkelsen is voicing Mufasa in the new movie. So I don't know how he's doing.
I'm sure it'll be fine. I just love the original so much.
Yeah,
Leave it alone.
and sorry, I know we're just getting off topic, but
That's all right.
your movie's not for another hour.
Yeah.
The thing that bothers me is I love the relationship between Mufasa and Scar, and that's what makes that movie so good and where it goes. And I don't see Scar in the trailer. I think this should
Really?
be. I don't notice him. I think shouldn't this be a story about Scar just as much as it is about Mufasa, since they're brothers.
You would think so.
I don't know.
And yeah, and they've been telling like Wicked is the story of the bad witch, right?
Yeah,
And so
like
was what was the one that Angelina Jolie was in?
Maleficent.
That's the same thing, the bad
Yeah,
story. And Cruella is from the bad
yeah.
guy's point of view. So why wouldn't we get it from Scar's point of view?
At least both, like or
Yeah.
whatever. Just because I think Scar's story is going to be way more interesting. What led him to want
Get
to,
so disenfranchised with the family.
kill his brother, send off his nephew? I mean, I don't know. We're getting into the weeds on The Lion King, but it is one of my favorite animated movies.
Me
It's not
too.
my
Me too.
favorite.
It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, thank you. Oh no, before we go, I just want to say that I watched the first 2 episodes of Agatha All Along.
Man, I had an early screening for that. Did I tell you?
Really? The 2 episode screening?
They were showing them in my theater, and it was last Tuesday, and I didn't go. Should have gone.
It's pretty good. I'm enjoying it. There's some good music and really interesting first episode, and then in the second, and Aubrey Plaza's in it, and Patti LuPone and some other people, and I
Should
love
they?
Catherine Hahn.
Could they have cut it down to be a good 2.5 hour movie?
Um,
I guess you don't know
I
yet.
say that about every single Marvel show I watch, and I
Yeah.
have watched them all. But I say that about every Marvel movie because TV show. Because if you're gonna make a TV show, why don't you just make it like a 2-hour movie and put it on Disney Plus?
Yeah.
You're in. I don't know. Anyways,
And then what about the Penguin?
I am gonna watch that because it's getting rave reviews.
Yeah.
But of course, things with women in them now are seen as woke. So since there's women in Agatha All Along, more people are talking about the Penguins. But I think
Oh.
also Marvel is on a downturn, so I think that's part of the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that, and I really do want to hear about the Penguin because
Yeah, I'll tell you for sure.
I was very interested in that because he was so good in that movie. I wish I'd gone to. They did a re-release of the Batman recently.
Really?
Yeah,
Probably
it was
before this.
Yeah, for this. Oh, and I
Yeah.
think it was like they give a a preview of the first episode or something.
Yeah.
Kind of like when I don't know. I saw Rogue One again when they were releasing.
Love that movie. Yeah. Oh,
It was
yeah.
Rogue One, and then like an episode of Andor following it, and I went and saw that, and that was so good.
That's cool. Andor was a great show.
Yeah,
And that is maybe one of the only shows that I've seen where I thought it couldn't be a movie. It was a great show.
Yeah, yeah. All right, well, cool.
Yeah. Okay, everyone. Thanks for listening. Thanks for everyone for being in the chat and asking us questions. That was very cool. I'm just wasting time until I can find the outro, which I just clicked, but it's not playing. Are you gonna edit this episode? Is this yours or is
I
it
was gonna,
mine?
yeah, but I don't know how to. There we go.
Watch my ears go back into place.